Hello, everybody, and welcome. I hope you guys can hear me. If you can't hear me, please let me know and type in the comments below. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Teany Hidalgo for your purpose-driven revolution. Good evening, everybody. It is Thursday at 9, and it's your weekly dose of high vibe, forward thinking, and revolutionary content that encourages you to discover the passions that lead you to your purpose. Thank you for joining me. Today's topic is all about the importance of rest and self-care for personal success and ways that you can incorporate it into your daily life. And if you don't know this already about me, I've actually had talked about this a whole lot throughout my career. And I even made it part of my sort of side career as well as a massage therapist. So I have so much insight to give you guys today. It's a lot of content. It's a lot of sort of juicy details that you can actually incorporate in your daily life now, and more complex stuff that you can actually incorporate later on. So I actually have a couple of tools, a couple of fun toys around here lying around. That way you guys can see what I personally use and things that, people can use to inspire them and to release and relax and do all the things that you really need to do to take care of yourself, right? For self-care. It's all about self-care today. So as we move along, I want to ask you guys to ask any questions. If you have anything to ask, if you have any, questions about any of the tools that I'm going to talk about, or maybe you have questions about your own personal life and how you can work in your circumstance, then for sure, let me know. And I'd love, love, love to answer any of your questions here today. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so one of the things I also want to ask you later on is if you have specific areas that you'd like me to concentrate on in the future for future live broadcasts. I would love to bring some of my friends on who do meditation, yoga, anxiety, and stress relief stuff, so I can help you guys sort of move along in your personal journey. So I'll ask you again at the end, and I'd love to hear personal success. And today we're going to talk about the ways that you can add that self-care to your personal regimen, even when you have 2 jobs, a child, and a home to run. Thank you very much. Or whether it's just one very stressful job. Whatever your circumstance, today we're going to talk and we're going to help you with all of that, okay? So get ready, because we're actually going to do some stuff live as well. I'm going to show you some cool tools, some cool tips, and things that you can do to just, inspire yourself to feel better throughout the day, and not just, when you go away on vacation, right? Okay, so let's get started. So let's talk about the actual sense of stress and, anxiety, all that stuff. Like, how does this stuff actually start, right? So what you may not know is that, well, what you do know is that most people think it starts immediately, right? They think that you have pain and, oh my God, now I have to go to the doctor, right? I'm depressed, so I have to go to the doctor. I have anxiety straight, so I have to go to the doctor. Like all these things hit you hard, and suddenly it feels like, oh my God, where did this come from? It was all of a sudden. But the truth is that it wasn't actually all of a sudden at all. The truth is that it actually starts very lightly. So things like emotions start, you first start feeling the lighter emotions of like, okay, maybe you feel like a little stressed at work. Maybe you're being pushed to be super busy and get things done quickly, right? Maybe you're feeling a little bit nervous or upset, perhaps a little bit of sadness. So everything starts lightly, right? You're not going to feel any immediate like boom right away. And that for sure has happened to me. So back in 2008, before I actually had a lot of shoulder pain, it started lightly. I was starting to feel stressed. Some of the clients that we had were stressing me out. I was starting to work long hours, sometimes even on the weekends and things like that. So that's kind of where it started for me, where I wasn't like, oh my God, I'm so stressed out right away. No, it was like kind of light. It was like, oh, well, this feels uncomfortable, right? That's a good word for it, uncomfortable or light or whatever. It's a very light emotion. Now, couple that with maybe some physical or physiological stress. So like if you're stressed at work, like I was, you're sitting down all day long. And guess what? Without even realizing it, you actually like, constrict your body and like stress and like, hold it in as if you're like working out, right? Like you hold it in and you kind of contract your muscles as you're stressed. So that lighter emotion that it begins with can also start with a light bit of physical stress, whether it's sitting down for long periods of time and so your back starts feeling a little weird, right? Whether it's standing a lot and so like your legs start feeling weird, right? Maybe you start aggravating your back a little, your shoulder from carrying your laptop, which was my case. And then that kind of turns into something a little bit more serious over time because of the repetitive stress of your body, right? So then that actually turns into pain, right? So the pain, unfortunately, which I was also advised from my personal chiropractor, who I also see, pain is actually the last symptom that you feel. It's like the last sort of like call from your body to tell you, listen, you're doing something to piss me off and to stress me out. This pain is your sign. It's like your last alternative, your last, moment to fix this, or it will get worse, right? It'll get even worse. It'll be even more pain, or God forbid, something more, even more debilitating, like a disease or something like that. So it's your last opportunity when you hit that pain threshold, to actually do something about it. Now, one of my coaches actually says that you really need to concentrate most on how you're feeling first and not just on aside from the actioning that you do all the time. So basically like focus on how you're feeling on a day-to-day basis, hour-to-hour basis, as often as you can give yourself an opportunity to sort of breathe and sit with how you feel at the moment. And, right now we've become such a population of doers. I even call it the busyness syndrome, right? Because we've become so busy. And it's almost like, a good thing. Like people feel like, oh, because I'm so busy, I must be getting a lot of things done. But that's not always the case, right? Just because you're busy doesn't mean you're actually doing a lot of things. It may actually be that, you're doing busy work that's like chipping away little by little, but not really getting anywhere, right? So we have to be a little smarter about it. But because we've become a society of doers, I feel like we've lost our sense of being, right? We're human beings. And so we should start focusing on being more present and feeling a state of peace rather than being in what I call that busyness syndrome, right? Because when we concentrate on being more, we're actually more present to opportunities. This is what people kind of miss. We think that we're all so busy. Oh, I'm getting a lot of things done. And at the end of the day, you're just hacking away at your checklist. And sometimes it's only a fraction of the things that you need to get done. Whereas if you actually practice on being and being present in your life, often you get insights, right? People who are very successful in business often talk about being in the zone, right? That zone doesn't come from being busy, mentally busy all the time. It actually comes from being present and in the moment as you're doing your action, right? It's present action. It's not busyness action up here. It's actually probably more around your heart area when you're really focused and in tune and in touch with that thing that you care about, that you're doing in your life, that career, that purpose, whatever that is, right? So being is really, really, really important. And most people in that state who live in that busyness syndrome live unconsciously. So we want to be more conscious and not allow things to get to us, right? Because that's what happens when you're in the busyness syndrome. You let things to get to you without you realizing it because you're not in the present moment. You're just allowing things to happen rather than, foreseeing what you can do. So while I agree that it's super urgent to concentrate on yourself first and absolutely important to be more of the time, I know it's really hard, right? I know it's super hard for people and probably unlikely for you to do that most of the time right away, right? It's hard because Again, we're coming from a time where we've super duper busy. This is the busyness syndrome. That's what people like enjoy. They want to be known as people who get things done, right? So because of that, I've come up with a few things to help you during work and at the end of your workday that you can add to your personal regimen to start to decompress during and after. Okay. So if you guys have any thoughts, questions about what I've said so far, please do post in the comments. I can see what you're saying and respond. Okay. Let me just take a quick glance. All right, y'all. So thank you guys for joining. Again, we're talking about how to live in a more self-care and relax-oriented world, right? You can create that world for yourself. All right, so feel free to say hi if you're watching. I'd love to hear from you. All right. So a couple of things that I do during work to help me get into that whole like decompression bit of it, right? While I'm actually actioning at work, right? Is first of all, one of the things that I actually learned from a coworker way back is to start setting up 45 minutes or 25-minute meetings instead of like full 30-minute hours or 30 minutes or hour meetings. And what does that mean? It means that you have an extra 5 minutes if it's half an hour, or an extra 15 or 5 to 15 minutes if it's an hour long. If you can cut those meetings by 5 to 10, 5 to 15 minutes, if you can even do that much, it gives you that break time to kind of say, okay, I'm going to take these 5 minutes to decompress from my last call, digest what happened, and get ready for my next one. And even if you have enough time, if you do the 15-minute one, you might even have a time for like a 15-minute, like relax and meditate and completely like detach from what the meeting you just had. So it's really nice to have that break in between, to break up all of the work stuff that you have to do by setting up on purpose the 45, 50-minute or 25 if it's a 30-minute meeting, right? It just gives you that little extra time. And also, be cognizant that when you're on the call and you're running into the next, the end of that time frame, that 25, 45 minutes, I always tell people like, hey guys, we have about 3 minutes left. So let's wrap up the conversation. And if you want, we can set up another call. Boom. It doesn't shut them down. It just like, hey guys, hold it until we can meet again. Right. So that'll help you kind of pause and also like alert them, right? That this is about to close. Let's wrap it up because I need, AKA, I need my 5 minutes to 15 minutes break in between so I can compose myself. Yeah. All right. So another thing I do is I like to take 5 to 10-minute breaks to just sit quietly, breathe, meditate, get up and walk around. I'm using a standing desk right now. So, and I'm on my table. And so what I do is sometimes like I vary between standing up and sitting down so that I can get a little variety and my body gets to breathe a little bit, right? Because one of the problems that I had was that, and I still have it slightly just because I tend to sit down a lot, is lower back pain. And actually it's much better today. But because I've been practicing what I'm telling you, which is like, standing up, sitting down, stretching a bit in between meetings or just in 5 to 10-minute break, meditating, relaxing my body, stretching it out, all those kinds of things really, really help. And the thing about taking a 5 to 10-minute break, even if it's like, okay, at lunch, you take your lunch time to like disconnect and consciously enjoy your food. And then maybe even cut that lunch time, like if it's, half an hour, eat in 10 to 15 minutes, and then that last 10 to 15 minutes, go outside, right? One of the important things is nature. I love having my plants around. I have like plants on my windows. I have plants in my living room, next to my couch. I have, plants as many places as I can have them because they oxygenate you. Of course, they bring oxygen to your body because that's what they produce, but also because, it's nature. And the closer we feel to nature, the more grounded we feel, right? The more we feel like we're closer to being outside, closer to being, out in the place where it's peaceful, right? It's kind of like a symbol. It's kind of a reminder for me, like, oh yes, I can bring a little bit of that tranquility indoors, right? So, but also with that 5 to 10-minute break is, listen, a lot of smokers, they get 10 to 15, 20, sometimes more breaks, right? How about us non-smokers, right? We can take those breaks as well. And that's, it's a legal thing to give people breaks. So take it. Like, don't let yourself get like, burdened and put into a pigeonhole with, having to work back to back to back to back. Sometimes what I do actually, and this is like really important for me to do because people tend to schedule a lot of meetings with me, is I set blocks. So if I have an hour call or 2 hours straight max, I'll set up a half an hour in between. So I could actually like decompress and get things done, right? Because I can't get as many things done in a meeting if I'm talking to you about it. I have to go out and actually do the work. So having those breaks is super, for me, crucial. And so one of the ways that I set up those meetings and those breaks is either by phone, because I set up different alarms on my phone, or I set it up in my calendar for work, my work calendar. So those are the couple of things that I do. So any thoughts or questions on that? Have you guys found this rather useful so far? I hope you have. These are kind of like my secret tips. So I hope that you're enjoying it. All right, feel free to add anything else that you want to ask about regarding like releasing stress and being rested for success, okay? So now we talked about how it starts. We talked about what to do when you're actually at work, during that busy time, right? And now let's talk about at the end of your workday and the things that you can actually do, right? So I literally store my work computer away. Like I literally have my laptop case right here with my computer inside. And once I'm done with work, I store it. Or actually, usually that bag is in the living room somewhere else, somewhere where I don't even need to look at it. Right. And it's not that I hate work. It's obviously like I enjoy it to some extent, right? What I do, obviously. So, but I need to be able to say to myself and to signal to my mind and my body, like, that's it. Like, I'm done. Time's out. And one of the ways I do that is also by having a journal. Like this journal right here, the 5-second journal, is Mel Robbins' journal. I don't know if you guys know Mel Robbins. She's amazing. And she created this journal. It's really cool because it asks you things like, today I feel a certain way, whether it's depleted, meh, fine, good, or energized. And you write why you feel that way and all these different things. But back to my point, it also says, today I will stop working at X time. So I set up that time. Like I say to myself, I will stop working at 5 p.m. or whatever the time is, right? And that way I know 5 minutes beforehand, if I'm having a conversation with someone, hey, by the way, gotta go in 5 minutes. I'm shutting down. I'm out. So I put my laptop away, I close it, and it's out of my sight. Nowhere to be seen in my line of vision. So that's one of the things that I do. Also after work, if I can do it, if I'm not picking up my son early, or if I have a little time before I actually pick him up, I actually sit in stillness. Because again, you want to give yourself space between the things that you do. Obviously I'm not saying don't do the things that you do. What I'm saying is allow some space between the things that you do, because it's that lack of space that's actually the burden, right? It's the part that takes the stress on your body, because you're constantly going without some way of refilling your cup, right? Which is what I said in one of my posts on Instagram today. If you're constantly giving and giving and giving to people, then you're never replenishing yourself. And that's what happens. That's what converts into stress. That's what makes you like, your mind go crazy, because you have no space to like relax in between. So after work, that's why I use that time to like take a 10 to 15 minute nap if I can, to meditate, a combination of both, breathe. I could take a quick shower before I go pick up my son. Maybe I'll cook even, because for me, and it depends on everybody's like this, certain tasks actually put me in a meditative state. Like actually washing dishes sometimes does that for me. Driving often does that for a lot of people, because you're kind of in a zone. You can't really do anything, right? Because you're driving, but even though you're driving, right, it's something that you're doing. But because you can't do anything else, you're in the zone. Same thing with washing dishes. I can't do other things, but I can wash these dishes and be in the zone. And let me tell you, some of the best ideas come when I'm showering, when I'm washing the dishes, or when I'm driving. Because I'm in that zone of like, okay, stillness, peace, and sometimes I'm listening to music, so that's even better, right? Stillness and peace, and I can sort of, my brain can now form those connections to see like, okay, well, how can I process Teany's day, right? What are things that I need to think about and to like process and to tie together? You know, what loose ends do I need to tie? What dots do I need to connect? Like all those different things. And often, I'm telling you, like I think of all these brilliant things that come up for me. So what was I saying? So again, meditate, take a break, do the things that, you know, really kind of relax you. You can figure out what that is. Often I'll listen to light, relaxing music. And even if I have to go right away to pick up my son, I'll be driving, but I'll be listening to, you know, light jams or often binaural beats. So if you haven't, I'm going to write it down right now. I'm going to write down binaural beats, which if you don't know about it, look it up on YouTube. Find beats for binaural beats on YouTube. They have tons of music that talk about binaural beats. And it's good because it actually works on both hemispheres of your brain. And it kind of forms better, allows you to form better connections with the sort of the wave of the music. So it actually, you know, allows your brain to sort of relax, but also it forms like beautiful connections in your brain. And there's actually all kinds of binaural beats for different reasons, like for relaxation, for clarity, you know, for whatever, for anything that you want, for just, you know, raising your energy. Like there's stuff for that too. So definitely look up binaural beats. Super important. All right. So I also know that some people love to play an instrument. Now, my son actually learning how to play piano now. I know how to play a little bit, but I also sing. And so one of the things that I do sometimes after work is I karaoke. I even do that sometimes during lunch. If I need a break, like karaoke, something to let me release anything that I have going on. You know, it's an energy that I want to put out there. I also have my trampoline. So that's another way that I also do it. And I actually sometimes do work on my trampoline and sing at the same time, just to like to give, it's an added benefit. It's a twofer, right? Something a little extra. So those are a couple of things. So now I want to show you guys a couple of the physical tools that I use. All right. So you guys know that I am a massage therapist as well. And it's funny because one of the reasons I became a massage therapist is because I started going to a chiropractor who got me really interested in like helping the body. And because at the time I needed him because I was in so much pain because of, guess what? Stress from work. I learned all these beautiful things about the body and massage and all this stuff. So now I can share some of the things that I have here with you. Now, one of the things I'll mention before I get into the physical tools that you use on your body is some tools that I use to burn because, you know, sound, obviously lighting affects us and our brains, but also senses of smell. So like Palo Santo or sage, if you burn it and actually burn some earlier, I sometimes burn sage, but I mostly burn this one because it's sweeter. The Palo Santo is a lot sweeter. If you put that in the air, it actually helps you kind of cleanse. Well, one, it cleanses your apartment or wherever you are. I know you can't do this at work, but at home, you can do this for yourself. You can go and you can burn some in your house. And it actually gives you like a soothing feeling, like it's calming. And it releases a lot of the energy that may be blocked up in your body as well, if you are into that kind of spiritual side of things. So now let's get into some of the physical tools that I use. So lately I had actually been exhibiting some lower back pain. So I went to my chiropractor and now I know, you know, because I'm a massage therapist, I'm like, okay, now I know what to do. This back pain started. Let me start fixing it, right? On a daily basis. So it's not just like me going to the chiropractor and having him fix me once a week. I want to do the work. And that's kind of what I want to encourage you guys to do. Be your own gurus. Don't wait for someone to go and fix you. Actually go and get the tools that you need. Ask people, ask your doctor, what tools can I use? What can I do at home to help release some of the stuff that's going on in my body? Is so, so, so important. So one of the more obvious ones is this little baby right here. It's a massager. Oh my God, it feels so good. This is actually a really cool small one. And I can tell you guys, it's from Wayland. It's a mini massager, uses 3 batteries. And this one you can actually take on the go for when you're on like, trips and whatnot. But this allows you obviously to release stress in different parts of your body. And you can actually hear it. You guys can hear it vibrating. It's actually a pretty cool device that you can use all over your body. Just make sure you never cross, major creases like here or your spine. Okay. Another thing that I use is this one, which I recommend to all of my massage clients. It's a body roller. I've actually bought this for people and I've actually sold this to people. So a body roller. This is a Guyam one. Actually, I don't know if you guys can see the name. This is a Guyam one, but they have all kinds. I personally like the texture of this one because it's still like foamy, but not too hard. I have another black one over there that it's a little bit too hard for my body. Because, everybody has different sensitivities. So make sure that you get the one that you feel most comfortable laying on, because you're going to put your weight on this thing and you don't want to hurt yourself. You can hurt yourself with these things. These things are helpful, but they can also be hurtful if you don't use it properly. So that particular Guyam one is actually a pretty medium soft foamy one. So basically it comes with a CD or DVD, and it tells you all the different things that you can do. But the idea is, so if this is the roller, your body, you're rolling on it. Your body is rolling on it like this. So you're rolling on the meaty parts of the muscles. So whether it's your calf muscle, whether it's your thighs, your butt, you can do your back as well. Just again, make sure that you're not rolling directly on your spine, because that's actually really can be very dangerous if you're rolling on it very hard. Now I roll on my spine a little bit sometimes, but very lightly, just to bring my body into a little bit more alignment. So that's one thing that you can use. Now, if you want more detail work, like sometimes I need work in between my shoulder blades. Like this is my shoulder blade, and this is in between my shoulder blade and my spine. This little baby right here, I feel like I'm doing magic tricks. This little baby right here is really useful. Really, really useful. And you can see it's very foamy. It's not a real baseball like the hard ones. It's actually really foamy. I have been told and recommended to use tennis balls, but ones that are already used, like ones that are already very, very soft and old, because you don't want a hard tennis ball in your back. That's not going to feel good. Not feel good at all. This one is super foamy, and it actually, you can even use it on your arm, roll it on your arm like this along the muscles. But the cool thing about it is that it actually allows you to get in between the shoulder blades, which I absolutely love, because between the shoulder blades is where people tend to hold a lot of stress, along with the top of your shoulder, which we call them the traps, right? So we have 3 levels of traps: the top level, the middle level, and the lower level that gets closer to your scapula and your shoulder blade and the middle of your spine, in between the spine and the scap. So this you can do against the wall. And so it kind of works like this. Like this is your body and this is the wall. So you're basically using your body, right, to rub up against the wall, up and down with this little ball. And that's actually what helps to release a lot of the tension in those muscles. Now, again, don't get crazy with those things. Use it, lightly. You can press in a little bit if you feel like you can use a little bit more pressure. Again, everybody's different. Some people are super hypersensitive, like my mom. I like deeper work on my muscles because I tend to hold a lot of that since I do a lot of physical work and activity. But definitely use it according to the range that you need and are comfortable with. But that, super love it. Another thing, and this is the last thing I'll show you, is this Mama Jamma right here that I just got. This is my heating pack for my shoulders, and I've been using it a lot more lately just because I love the smell, and it's been kind of cold, so it's warm. This actually you can heat up and cool down, and it actually has like lavender and all kinds of seeds inside, so it smells delicious. It smells so, so good. So it does a double duty. It not only helps you with the heat, right? And it's actually nice because it has like a little weight to it too. So it feels like it almost feels like you're protected. So it's kind of like a mental, like you smell it, so it smells good and it gives you relaxation through that. But also it has heat, so it warms up your muscles. So in cases where you're very stressed, you can use this, or on your back, right? You can use it to heat up the muscle, and then you can use this or the body roller or the massager for that matter. Or you can have it on, relax, take 2 minutes and light some Palo Santo, some sage, put some relaxing music and just chill. So that's some of the tools that I physically use to release stress. Find your thing. Figure out what is the best tool for you to use and when is the best time for you to use it. I personally recommend, if you're working from home, that you take breaks during the day to do that. If you're at work, you certainly could go and bring this to work and go to the bathroom and, use it against the bathroom stall wall or anything like that. You can definitely bring it for that. And hell, you can even bring a little roller. It's not that big. You can bring that too. Listen, whatever you can do to grab 5 to 10 minutes to release the stress in your body and give yourself a break, that's all you need. A few times a day to do that. Don't wait until it gets painful and you've already exceeded that point of no return, right? That's what we want to avoid. Okay, so that's that. So the next piece is planning for your future. So now that you've taken care of your body, you can also take care of your mind and planning fun activities. So things to look forward to is so important too when you have a long week, especially on Mondays, right? Monday should be fun day, but it's really not, because people are thinking about, oh my God, it's just the beginning of the week and I have 5 more days to get through until the weekend where I can have more fun, right? No, you don't have to wait that long. You can actually try to plan activities now that can inspire you and kind of you have it in the back of your mind and you're already thinking about it. And actually, it's those things that are kind of like creative visualization, right? When you can think of the things that you're going to do in the future, your brain doesn't know the difference of whether you're doing it now or whether you're doing it actually, right? Live. So you feel the same sensations and the same feelings as if you were doing that thing. So sometimes, for example, I'll picture myself oh man, I really want to go on a vacation and just lay down on the beach. So I'll picture myself laying on a beach, touching the sand. You know what it feels like. So it's not like it's something new. Putting my feet in the sand, allowing the water to wash over my feet. All these different things are visualizations that we can actually imagine. And then our brain can actually make it happen in our brain, which gives us that feeling of relaxation even before we're actually there, because it's already in our minds. We're already visualizing it, right? So plan a night of fun, a weekend away, or a bigger trip to a beach somewhere else, but start by visualizing it. Start by planning it. Planning these fun activities gives you something to look forward to, and it actually dilutes the stress, because you're no longer thinking of work. Now you're thinking of how can I dilute all the stress that's happening right now and throughout the week, okay? Now, on the more symbolic side, meaning is the utmost, right? Meaning is the crucial thing, because if you're working so hard, it kind of also means that you've lost sight of the reason why you're doing it. Because at the end of the day, we all want to be happy. As I've mentioned, the purpose of your life is joy. So if you're not feeling joy while you're doing the thing, that means that you're not really paying attention to your body and what you're doing, and you've lost sight of what's important, right? So it's time to sort of get back to that, start imagining and remembering, what is it that is so meaningful to you for you to do this thing? What is it? And believe me, I understand if it doesn't feel meaningful at all to you, because I've been there as well. And if you need help with that, that's why I'm here, Purpose Coach. So hit me up. I'd be happy to talk to you about helping you discover what that meaning is and find purpose in what you're doing. And if you lost sight of your purpose because you're working so hard, I can help you with that too. So definitely find what it is that kind of drives you, what's motivating you, what's that deeper calling, that deeper reason, that deeper thing that's kind of driving you. That'll help you also feel more comfortable with what you're doing day to day. Okay. So again, if you have any thoughts or questions on this topic, I just talked about what to do at the end of your workday. I'd love to help you guys and answer any questions that you might have. And also, I mean, all of these have helped me in some way or another, or all of them really have, because I've used them all, so I can definitely vouch for them. You have to start adding these things little by little. You know, the easiest ones first. If I can take just a 5 to 10 minute break, even if it's to walk around, you know, the office, or go downstairs and grab some water, or whatever that is, 5 minutes in between, or set up 5 minute breaks in between meetings, even that, you know, whatever you can add little by little, it all adds up after a while, right? Just like stress adds up after a while to cause even bigger problems. Start adding those small things now that'll help you have a better longevity in your own personal life and your, you know, mental state of mind over the long haul. Start now. Okay. And you can do that by starting to set up reminders for yourself, because those are important. You know, then they'll give you an insight like, oh, I got to go take a 5 minute break. I got to go, guys, you know. So as I said, I want to give you guys an opportunity to ask questions in whatever area you want to talk about, whether it's self-care, and also ask, and you guys can, you know, type in now, or if you guys listening to this later on, I'd love for you to respond later on. What do you want to hear more about? What videos on this related topic would you like me to talk about? Whether it's meditation, yoga for work, releasing anxiety. I have many peers who are in these fields, so I would love to sort of bring them on board and have you guys meet them, and they can give you their take on the ways that they've incorporated their modalities, right, into their everyday life and even into their work life. So I would love to share that with you guys as part of this purpose-driven journey that you're on. All right, so in the comments below, definitely let me know if I can help you guys with anything.
Thank you guys for joining.
And I look forward to hearing from you guys soon in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and share. This is Teany Hidalgo from Purpose Driven Revolution, encouraging you to discover and keep pursuing the passions that will lead you to your purpose. And I'll see you guys on the passionful side. Peace.